Why are people in New York buying houses in Florida? I want to do a topic like that for you right now. My name is Sandy and I'm a licensed realtor here in Central Florida, and I've been getting this question asked to me all the time. Why are people from New York buying homes in Florida? Well, guess what? I'm a New Yorker and I bought a home here. That's why. Check this out. It is now January 5th or 6th, I think. It's Thursday, but it's definitely January, and I'm in Florida, and look at what I'm wearing. Hello, that's why they're moving. We can't beat the Florida weather. We can't get away from the Florida weather. And if you grew up in any kind of warm climate or any kind of warmth of any kind, or even as you get older, you start to not wanting to go through the whole winter season, the cold, the bitter cold, very, very cold. And so what ends up happening is some people start coming to Florida, like I first did, on vacation. Like we come during Christmas and we come during the colder time, and we're realizing, wait a minute, why are we not living like this all year round? What's the secret? Back in the days, they used to tell us you have to retire first because you got to stay in New York and work until you retire, then you could buy a house in Florida. But I remember back in 2003, and the reason why I remember this is because my son he was 5 years old, and this was our first trip to Disney World for him. And I was in line. We were staying at a hotel, so we're waiting on line on a shuttle to take us to the park. And I was telling my kids, I'm moving to Florida when I retire. Definitely I'm moving to Florida when I retire. And this retired lady, well, I'm assuming she was retired because she was an older lady, she was in front of us, and she turned to me and she said, girl, do not wait until you retire. Why not do it now? And I'm like, okay. She's like, do not wait until you retire, because then you don't know if you're going to have the same strength you have right now. You won't be able to enjoy it the way you're enjoying it right now, so why wait? And that kind of put something in my head. So from 2003 to 2012, I used to tell all my friends, I'm moving to Florida, and they are, yeah. Every year we would come down, we would go to Disney, all that great stuff, but I was still living in New York. I was doing real estate in New York, doing New York. In 2011, my son kept saying he wants to be a pilot. So in 2011, I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing? Why am I not moving to Florida? If he wants to be a pilot, that would be the best place for him to be, right? And you know how our kids becomes our most motivational thing? Like once our kids say they want to do it, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're going to do it, even though we wanted to do it all along, right? So that's kind of what helped me to move to Florida. So why are people from New York moving to Florida? That's my story. Why are other people from New York moving to Florida? Well, as you get older, you want to retire to a warmer state. As we all know, New York is a very busy, bustling place. I lived in New York from 1989 to 2012. That's a long time, right? And I moved to Florida in 2012, and I have not regret one day. Why is that? Because of the weather. You cannot beat the weather, right? If you're depressed and stressed out and life is bugging you down, what better place to be than a warm place where you see sunshine and it's bright and it's not dark? And, that helps to pick your spirit up, doesn't it? So in any event, I'm a licensed realtor here in Central Florida. I'm also licensed in New York. I've lived in Central Florida since 2012. I still have many friends and realtors back in New York. But the reason why people would move from New York to Florida is because of the weather, and also because you get more for your money here. In other words, if you sold your home in New York, well, the market is kind of getting crazy now, guys. So I don't know if that's going to continue to be the same. But as we stand, January 5th or 6th, I believe it is, 2022, the beginning of 2022, you're still able to sell a home in New York and still come to Florida, based upon where you're in New York, and still come to Florida and get a pretty nice home, live in a pretty nice, decent area. And the thing is, you don't longer have to wait until you retire. Because now, because of COVID, we have so many people doing virtual work, and there's so many virtual jobs, right, that you don't have to stay in New York. Because, back in the days, they used to tell us, you have to make it in New York first, then move to Florida. Guys, that is such a lie. That is not true. I wish I'd moved to Florida before I did, right? I did in 2012. I wish I'd moved here longer before that. But the thing is, you could make it anywhere. And the way the world is revolving now as we go through COVID, people are beginning to realize, wait a second, I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know how much longer I have on this earth. Why am I living my life in misery? Why am I living in a cold state or a cold area or in an area I really don't like when I really would prefer to have summer all year long, right? And in Central Florida, believe it or not, it gets chilly. Like right now it's a little bit windy. It's probably in the 60s, early 70s, which is kind of cool for us, right? I got spoiled to Florida. But the thing is, why live in a cold state where you have to go outside and shovel the driveway and shovel everything or snow blow it and clean your car off and all this great stuff? Once you adopt the Floridian lifestyle where it's just a tropical lifestyle, it's very hard to go back to winter. Like I couldn't see myself moving back to New York. So that's why people are moving. They're moving for more, they want to have a life. Like in New York, you have to go somewhere, right? You have to go away on vacation, right? To get to the beaches and stuff. Whereas in Florida, you could live in Central Florida and decide, you know what, I'm going to go to Miami this weekend. Or where we are, it takes us an hour and a half and we're on the Gulf of Mexico, right? We're at Clearwater, Siesta Keys, we're in Tampa, we're an hour away from Tampa. So why not live the best of both life? And if we don't want to go to that end, we are an hour and a half away from Daytona Beach, right? So people are realizing that they want to live a freer life. They want to actually live. They don't want to just work and go home and then go back to work next day and go home. They want to be able to, take a day off, go to the beach for the weekend, come back and then go back to work or work from the beach. Wow, right? We are in such a virtual world that if you happen to be able to have a job that you could work virtually, you could live anywhere. You could live anywhere, right? You could live anywhere, and then kids are doing more and more homeschooling, more virtual school. There's so many virtual schools opening up now, and I did not realize how many people homeschool until I moved to Florida. Because when I was in New York, the norm is everyone goes to school. Of course, I did not live there after COVID, but the norm is still everyone goes to school. When I moved there in 2012, I realized a lot of people homeschool, and there was a lot of virtual school in Florida, and that was normal before COVID, guys. This is before COVID. So after COVID, there's even more virtual schools popping up, so you could be wherever you want. I'm now meeting people that live in New York, and they come here because we also do Airbnb. So they come here and they'll rent an Airbnb property for a few months and have their kids do the virtual school. Back in 2020, when all the parks were closed, and we were like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to rent our houses. Guess what? People are still looking to rent a pool home just to get away from the cold of New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, all that area, just to come down here. And New Yorkers are not the only ones, right? There are people coming from Canada, England, wherever it is that they could come from, they're coming. But they couldn't come in 2020 because of COVID. So we were getting more people coming from the north, like New Jersey, Connecticut, even Midwest, Chicago, Ohio, anywhere where there was cold. They were trying to get away from it. Because we want to be stuck in their house in COVID. You can't go anywhere. You're under quarantine. And you're stuck in your house looking at the walls. At least if you have a pool home in Florida, you could walk outside, go to the pool, check out your spa, go outside, sit on the patio. You're not bound to be inside because it's so cold outside. So these are some of the reasons why people are coming here. And since I've been here in 2012, I've learned so much about Florida. I've learned so much about the area even before I moved there, because we were coming here twice or three times per year between 2003 and 2012. And then in 2012, I made the move to come down here. So if you're looking to buy or wondering, like if you're in New York, Jersey, Connecticut, wherever you are, and you're kind of wondering, hey, maybe I should relocate, you could give us a call because we'll be able to tell you everything you need to know. Whether you want to come down for a few months to check the area out, or if you want to move and rent something for a little bit before you buy something, or if you want to build something and then rent, or whatever you're trying to do, believe you me, we'll be able to help you because I did it. I did the whole relocation thing. When I came here, I had to find the dry cleaners and the grocery store and what's the happening things and find all, where is the touristy part and where is the residential side? Because that's another thing I had to learn, right? There are certain areas that are more touristy and there are certain areas that are more for the people that actually live here. And if you're going to be living here, that's the area you want to be in. You don't want to be around the tourists all the time, right? So that's why people are moving to Florida, and we would be more than happy to help you. Where did I live in New York? I lived in the Bronx. I lived in White Plains. Then we moved up to Monroe, New York. I lived in Newburgh, New York at first, and we moved down to Monroe, New York. And so I knew the whole Orange County area. I had a property in Sullivan County all the way up in Liberty. My daughter went to Baruch College in New York City. So Now when I meet someone here and they tell me they live in New York, they live upstate New York, they really are from upstate, right? Because we used to live in the Bronx, and we moved to White Plains, and we moved to Monroe, and then all our friends were telling us, oh, you live all the way upstate. And we're like, all the way upstate, we're in Monroe. But literally living in Florida, I'm meeting people that live in Buffalo and Syracuse and all the way up there. That's really upstate New York, right? So if you're thinking of, maybe toying with the idea of relocating to Florida, definitely give me a call or send me a text, 407-791-4713. My information will be below, but I will be able to take you around, come on vacation if you'd like, take you around, show you the different areas, that kind of thing. I could also send you homes and stuff that's here, and you decide. But I recommend Central Florida, obviously. Why did I choose Central Florida? When I was moving, I used to come here a lot on vacation, right? So when I was moving, my friends are like, where are you going to Orlando? You could go anywhere else. Like, you're moving now, right? Because we're coming here a lot for Disney World. So I started researching Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and all these other areas. And I said to myself, you know what? Because of all this hurricane stuff that people love to talk about with Florida, right? I said, you know what? Walt Disney has had Disney World in Central Florida for so many years. It has never been blown down from the hurricane. We have closed maybe a day or two for the hurricane, but not blown down and gone. So I'm like, I'm going to follow Walt Disney. So that's how we end up in Central Florida. And what I like about Central Florida is we're close to all the coast. So we could drive to Key West if we wanted to. We could go over to Destin if we wanted to. We could go to Miami if we wanted to, and still come back into Central Florida. And Central Florida kind of goes through a 3 weather change, guys, really. It does get colder in October all the way through March, I would say. The only good thing is we'll have our cooler days and our sunnier days. So there are some days where it might be chilly during the daytime. During the nighttime, but it gets warm again in the daytime. Yeah, there are only few days that we really have to have a jacket on all day long. Very, very few days. So that's why I love it. So you still get that cold here. Summer is hot still, but this time of the year, like October, November, December, January, February, it still get cold. And guess what? We do Airbnb properties too, right? So we'll ask people, do you want to eat the pool when you come down? And they're like, no, we don't need the pool to eat it. It's Florida, it's hot. They come and they go in the pool, they're like, oh my God, this is not as hot as we thought. And they got to get the pool heated. So believe it or not, you will still use the heated pool while you're here. And you'll still want to have a hot tub or a spa that you could also go in, because it does get chilly. Thank you so much for listening. I'm a licensed realtor here in Central Florida. If you're thinking of relocating or want to have any questions about relocating to Florida, definitely give us a call, and our information should be below. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.